Hey, what is up, everybody? It's Eric back here on Smelly Russian Gaming. It's been a while since we've done a video. It's been about a month or so, and the reason why is me and Ryan had gotten super busy. He's working, 2 jobs and figuring stuff out there, and I'm working a couple jobs too, and staying busy. And we really didn't have any time to do anything. We couldn't make time to where we could do the podcast together because we're in 2 different places. I'm up in Detroit and he's down in central Indiana, and we're kind of on a different wavelength right now. But as of right now, for the next few months until I get moved back down to Indiana, I will be doing these podcasts by myself. Ryan will be joining us once I get moved back and we can get our studio situation figured out, and we can get back to doing what we used to do, and it'll be a lot simpler, a lot easier, and it'll allow us to make a lot better content for you guys. So just stay in there, hang out with us, hang out with me for the next little bit, for the next few months or so, and we'll get this all figured out. Today's topic I want to talk about, we are, as I'm shooting this video, we are 11 days out from the next generation, and I don't know about you guys, but I'm very excited. I have personally pre-ordered a PS4 for myself. I know my buddies like Ryan and Isaac that have been on the show, and a few other friends that we hang out with, they're all getting PS4s. I was the only one that was able to react quick enough to be able to pre-order, because as you all know, pre-orders have been going like crazy, and they're basically officially out unless you can find some secret guy that lives in a hole and who knows your second cousin and all this weird connecting stuff that will be able to get you one. You probably won't be able to get one. But I'm super excited for the PS4. One of the main reasons why I went with the PS4 is price, obviously. It's $100 cheaper, and people have been talking back and forth, and some of the developers for Resident Evil were saying, the systems are basically the same, they're identical, there's not going to be that much of a difference. The only thing you're really paying more for is the whole, Kinect system that's required, quote unquote, but isn't required anymore with the new patch that they're going to be releasing on day one. And that, how do I put this lightly? They're wrong, basically, because EA and Activision both confirmed that Call of Duty and Battlefield 4 will be running at 720 on the Xbox One. But both of those games, Call of Duty will be running on 1080 on the PS4, and Battlefield 4 will be running at 900p. Now, I know that the 720 to 900p isn't that big of a jump as it is from there to 1080, but it's still a jump, and it's still a big deal. And one of the things that you have to really think about is, Microsoft might have gotten a little big-headed about this because they got ahead so far with the Xbox, and they were selling more than the PS3, and they thought they were so far ahead, and it's a good thing that Sony didn't show their cards really early, because Xbox would have countered and figured it all out. And I think one of the reasons why they're having so many issues with running 1080 is they're running DDR3, and the PS4 is running DDR5. Now, I'm not a developer, I'm not a game designer, I don't know how these engines exactly work to the T, but from my understanding, I can imagine that the difference in what they're running has a bit to do with that, and how fast the frameworks are working, the texture layers, and how everything is being set up as far as looks and graphics. Now, if you think about, I'm trying to put this in a simple way. If you think about, like, there's those certain type of girls that look absolutely gorgeous without makeup, and then there's those certain types of girls that need makeup to look good. Okay, the PlayStation is the girl that doesn't need to wear makeup when she goes out. She looks gorgeous anyways. Okay, and then there's the Xbox One. What they're doing is they're running this, I guess, booster, I guess you could call it, that boosts the 720 resolution into 1080, so it looks 1080, but in all aspects it's really not. So the Xbox One is more like the girl that has to put makeup on to look good, because if she doesn't, she looks like crap and nobody wants to talk to her or look at her, and that's kind of where it's at. But let's go from that into the games. There's quite a few games that are coming out. I think as far as day one releases, I think they're not amazing because they haven't been working. They haven't been working on these systems long enough to be able to max out the full potential of how gameplay is going to be, as far as open worlds and as far as looks. But I think the list is fairly good, and it's going to be very popular. It's going to be very good. I think this will be by far the best set list of games that are coming out. Day one releases. So you've got Assassin's Creed 4, Battlefield 4, Call of Duty Ghosts, DC Universe Online, FIFA 14, NBA Live 14, NBA 2K14, Just Dance 2014, Madden 25, Killzone Shadowfall, Knack, Lego Marvel Superheroes, Minecraft for the Xbox, Destiny, Forza 5, Killer Instinct, Dead Rising 3, Need for Speed, and Rise. I think it's with these releases. I think if Watch Dogs and Drive Club would have released with the PS4 and obviously Watch Dogs with the Xbox One, I think it could have made this launch 1,000 times better. Now it's already good, and there's already a lot of games out, but I think with Watch Dogs being in there, it could have been great. And I'm kind of caught on the fence with Watch Dogs because I'm super, super, super excited to play that game. It looks amazing. The gameplay looks intuitive, and it's a change of pace from everything that we've seen in the past, I want to say 3 or 4 years. And I think if it would have come out on release, even with only less than a month before they give out the Game of the Year awards and things like that, I thought that Watch Dogs had a chance against GTA 5 and The Last of Us to win Game of the Year. And it would have been a phenomenal game if it would have come out when it did. But I applaud Ubisoft for this because they're doing what a lot of people aren't doing. And they're saying, okay, we don't have our stuff ready. We don't have everything in order just yet. We're almost there. But we're not going to sell you guys short. We're selling you a product, and we're going to give you full value of that product. And we're going to make sure everything's perfect, even if it does mean pushing it back 5-6 months until, April or May. They haven't confirmed when it's exactly going to be out. But I applaud them for that because, if for any of you that are playing Battlefield 4 on the PC right now and on PS3 or the Xbox 360, there are a lot of issues with netcode and matches just dropping out and quitting altogether right in the middle of a match, and getting shot by someone that isn't even in your general area. You can't even see them, and spawning outside of the map or underneath the map, and it's EA's pulled this stuff before. They did the same thing with Medal of Honor Warfighter. They gave us half a game, and they sent us a patch on day one to finish the game. So that game was ruined, and the Medal of Honor series is dead now because they rushed it because everybody wants to compete with Call of Duty. And nobody's willing to admit that they're competing with Call of Duty. Even companies that aren't even making games in the same genre as an FPS, they're still competing with Call of Duty. And since Call of Duty's coming out basically on the same date every year after year, and granted, a lot of things aren't changing with them, but it's a full finished game. Now, granted, they're not changing anything. It's a lot of copy and paste and copy and paste. But and yeah, they're kind of cheating the system because it's never an entirely new game. It really isn't with Call of Duty, but it's a full finished game, and everybody's pushing, whether it's a month or a week before Call of Duty comes out, or the day of Call of Duty, or a week after, or maybe a month after Call of Duty comes out. There's this window that everybody wants to fit in around Call of Duty, and it's kind of screwing everything up because people are releasing half-finished games, and the net code's all messed up, and they're having to go in and fix everything, and it's making games like not even worth playing. I'm a close follower of a bunch of Battlefield 4, Battlefield-oriented YouTubers, and a lot of them are saying that the netcode is worse in Battlefield 4 than what it was in Battlefield 3, and that's pretty much saying something, because and that's a huge statement, because it's when you say something like that, that's a big deal. That is a huge deal, because there were so many people, including myself, including Ryan and Isaac and all of our other friends, and a lot of other people that I've talked to, are super, super excited for Battlefield 4. But when you're saying things like, we just want it up to the standard of Battlefield 3, that's scary. And given that the Xbox One and the PS4 are just glorified consoles that are really just PCs, because they're running, PC hardware, they're running the x86 stuff, and they're running, DDR3 and DDR5 and all that stuff. They're glorified consoles that are really PCs. And when you're a founded PC game like Battlefield is, because Battlefield's always been for the PC. PC's always had a head start and has always been leaps and bounds ahead of what the consoles were. But this time that's not the case. This time, all around, whether it's this gen console, PC, or next gen console, it's looking like Battlefield isn't really going to be as great as what we all thought it would be. I've heard a lot of people say that they just wanted up to the standard of what Battlefield 3 was, and Battlefield 3 really wasn't all that great. Even now, if you play it now, there are still a lot of bugs. There's a lot of head glitching. There's still unbalancing as far as weapons, and there's a lot of, you go around a corner to get away from somebody shooting at you, and as soon as you get around cover and you're there and you think you're safe, you die because either they've shot through the wall, or there's some type of hesitation in that's going on, causing you to die to where you think you're around the corner, but you're really not, and you're dying. And that's the same thing that's happening in Battlefield 4 on PC and console right now. So it's, and I thought maybe EA would, and my friends feel the same way about this. Every year we're hoping that EA gets their head out of their butt and starts actually producing full finished games. But it never happens. And I don't know if it ever will. I'm still going to buy Battlefield 4, in hopes that within the next 11 days they'll get everything fixed and it'll be set, ready, and running for next gen. And everybody's been saying that Battlefield 4 is really just Battlefield 3.5, and I would agree with them. Battlefield 4 is everything that Battlefield 3 should have been. I played the beta and everything was smooth running. The graphic textures weren't the greatest because I was playing on Xbox 360, but it was a lot better than what it was in Battlefield 3. And it was the same way with Bad Company 1 and Bad Company 2 back in the day. Bad Company 2 was everything that Bad Company 1 was supposed to be. So it's it's not even really an entirely new game anymore. Now there's new game modes, and there's new maps, and there's new guns, but how much of it, I mean, realistically, is an entirely new game? You know, because, I mean, they're still having issues with the netcode, they're still having issues with bullet bending, and spawning outside the maps, and things like that, and randomly dying, and all this other stuff, and matches not finishing, because that's a big thing. People have had matches crashing on them, and servers crashing all the time, from what I've read and from what I've heard, and people are pretty upset about it. So I mean, if I'm still gonna buy it, I'm still gonna play it because I'm a huge fan, and I'm just hoping that they get it all fixed before I buy it, before November 15th rolls out, and you know, I'm ready to go, you know, and it's just a hope of mine. I hope everything works out. Moving into that whole realm of things, let's go into the difference that we could possibly see between before the end of the year and then after the first of the year, because I think there could be a huge difference with this next gen if developers are going to put their mind to it, like they've been saying they would. We could see a huge difference. Rise on the Xbox One looks phenomenal. The gameplay looks a little funny to me because all it seems like is, you know, scripted stuff where it says press a button and you press it and then he does something without you doing anything. I could be completely wrong. I haven't played it. I've only seen what I've seen on the internet and things like that. Dead Rising looks great. Second one was terrible, but hopefully the second one's better. Second one was terrible. Hopefully the third one will be better. Need for Speed is always good. And all these games right here that I have listed off are super exciting in the aspect of this is where the transition happens. This is the list of transitions from last gen to next gen, because from now until I would say maybe as late as February, maybe March of next year, this is the transition era of where you go from PS3, Xbox 360, all the way up to PC status, graphics and gameplay, and just making leaps and bounds. This is kind of that gray area in the middle where things are looking better, but you still see hints of last gen. And I think that's what you'll see with all these games. It's super exciting. We're gonna have to endure just a little bit. The gray area, or this time of transition, may be a bit longer than I may say. You know, I could be completely wrong. It could last a year. It could last 2 years. You know, it just depends on how quickly these developers are going to be able to design for these new systems and come up with new ways of doing these games. But I think the time that we're in now is something to be cherished, because if you've pre-ordered a console and you're getting one in this transitional time, I think it's going to be super cool to see, because we're going from, most of the time, you're lucky if you get 30 frames per second at 720p on the Xbox 360 and PS3, if you're lucky, okay? And then we're transitioning into, you know, 1080p, 60 frames per second, open world type of stuff. And it could go even beyond that. You know, it could go even higher than what we could, you know, possibly imagine with these next-gen consoles, because the thing that I prefer about consoles over PCs, even though these consoles are glorified consoles and they're really PCs, the hardware isn't changing. And with PC gamers, you're always upgrading stuff. I know some guys don't transition and upgrade stuff for, like, I don't know, 3, maybe 4, sometimes even 5 years at a time, okay? which works out for them. You know, they still can run the stuff and play the games that they want. But with PCs, a lot of the time you have to match your hardware up to what games you want to play, which sometimes can be a little bit of a hassle. But I think with consoles, or these, PC consoles, I'll just call them that, is you've got developers maximizing every single potential that there is out of these gaming systems. And I think it's super exciting because since they are PCs in a way, they'll be able to work with them a lot easier, because when they start developing games, they develop them on PCs and then they dumb everything down to where they'll fit on a console. Well, now that these are PC type rigs, they can just develop for top of the line PCs, but the amount that they have to dumb everything down is a lot less than what you would for last generation. So once these guys find the comfort level and the right areas to change things from high level PCs down to the PS4 and Xbox One, I think everything's going to look a lot better. Gameplay's going to be a lot smoother. You're going to see new things implemented that we could have even wondered if they could even get them right, like the little things. One of the things that makes me so excited I'm a big sports game fan. I like Madden. I like college football. I like basketball games. I like all of them. Tiger Woods, baseball, hockey. I like all of them. And the game that I'm excited about besides Battlefield 4 is NBA Live 14. Now, a lot of people aren't giving NBA Live a lot of credit here, and I can see why. They've been out of the business for 3 years. They canceled twice on a lot of people. And NBA 2K14 clearly looks a lot better, okay? NBA 2K14 clearly looks a lot better. They look next gen. They look definitive. They look a lot better. But the thing is that when you look at the gameplay, and I've observed a lot of the gameplay from 2K14, there's still a lot of issues from last gen that they haven't fixed. And with NBA Live 14, yeah, it's been 3 or 4 years since they've released a game, but they've spent so much time on next gen because they knew it was coming, and they've been designing this one game for next gen. And it may not look as good as NBA 2K14. Okay, I'll give graphic looks to 2K14 any day of the week. Okay, but as far as gameplay and the little things, NBA Live 14 has it down to a T. They've got it all figured out. They've given new animations to the ball to where the ball has its own physics, so it's not tied to the dribbler's hand, and players aren't ice skating across the floor. There's actually contact with the floor, and there's actually friction, and it all looks super real, and the AI is making over, I think EA said with their next gen games, they're making like over 60 something calculations a second based on where players are on the floor and things like that. So gaming is becoming very, very intelligent, and they're adding a human aspect of seeing into these games, and they're adding an aspect of intelligence to these games that we've never seen before, because you've got people, they're adding in this aspect of the AI observing what's happening in front of them and then adjusting properly to the situation to where whatever's happening can benefit that AI player the most in that certain situation, which I think is amazing because it adds a whole new humanistic aspect to it that we've never seen in gaming. And it's not just with sports games. I'm sure they're adding it within a bunch of other games too, and it's super exciting for next gen. But I think the most exciting thing is for the people that did pre-order and are going to have these games before the first of the year and into the beginning of next year. I think you're going to see a lot of transitioning, and I think it's going to be really cool to see how they change a lot of things, and how it's going to be really it's just going to be really cool to see how the huge transitions are going to be made from 360 and PS3 all the way up to the next gen consoles, to where you don't see any of the hiccups or the little things that you want fixed in a game are finally going to be fixed with the next gen. I think that's going to be super exciting. It's going to be super awesome. But that's all I have to say for today, guys. Click the like button if you liked it. If you didn't, that's fine too. Comment, you know, if you have any questions, concerns, or whatever, or you have anything we want to talk about, you know, just let us know. SmellyRussianGaming.com is a new website we're gonna have up. We're gonna have tags to articles and some of our videos. If you missed any of the videos in the past, we're gonna be posting new stuff every week. I'm not sure about an official schedule as far as YouTube, but I will be getting on that as soon as I can, and once I can get a schedule figured out, I will let you guys know. But this is Eric for Smelly Russian Gaming. I'm signing out.
Russian baby.